All right, as I said I was gonna do, finish spot welding our center rocker on. Welded on our jack supports and outriggers. So that's all taken care of underneath there. Now we're gonna fit our lower rocker and the bottom part of our fake door. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to attempt to get this up here and roughly where it's got to go. And clamp it on. Oh, come on. Okay, so that's about where it's got to go. We know we're on our bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mark on here. Here's where our part of our fake door comes down this far, so I'm going to notch just a little bit higher. I know I sound like a broken record. I constantly say that. Don't cut more than you need to initially, and then I'm going to put a line here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. That's going to allow me to get rid of some of this excess. It'll help us fit our panel. So then I'll put it back up there once I cut that off, and I'll fine tune this line right here with the other part. And then I got to figure out how I'm going to cut that off. Usually I'll go through and I try to cut both panels at the same time because it gives me a nice clean cut and it lines up perfect. But I have that floor piece in here. We still have part of the floor here, and if I cut this out, I don't want to mess that up. But I like the idea of having the floor here because that's going to keep this from shrinking and keep a nice straight panel when I tack weld that all together. So, not 100% sure. I think I've got a little bit left there where it's overlapping. I might go on the inside and drill some holes out so I know where the top of my floor is and don't go too far. Maybe I can cut it right at the top level of the floor. But let me try to figure that out after I cut this other part down, and I'll bring you back and show you what my plan of attack is. See ya. So I think I have a plan of attack. Let's hope the heck it works out all right. One thing that I kind of failed to mention before, what I did ahead of time is this fake door piece. I think I showed that in one earlier in the video, how we have our lower rocker piece and then the piece of the fake door where they come together. Being that the floor is in here and I can't get in here, I pre-welded these two together ahead of time. Otherwise, there would be no way for me to weld this seam without messing up this door reveal here. So I did that ahead of time. Figured I'd put it on all as one piece. So I've cleaned up everything here. Where the heck did I? Here's my vice grips. So this is going to go up here. Let's get it initially clamped. So I've got my edge here, or my, what do you want to call it? right here. I've got that exactly where I want it. I worked my way there. What I'm going to do is the back side of this panel and this little area is kind of rotted here yet where the floor was. So I drew myself a line and I'm going to come at an angle here. And then from here is where the floor is still in there. So I'm just going to cut from here directly all the way to where the floor is there. And hopefully it matches up. There's enough of this left in there, which there should be. And if for some reason if I do have too big of a gap, that won't be too bad, because remember that floor piece is in there. So that's how I'm going to cut that out. I think it's going to work. Let me get it cut out and show you if I've succeeded or not. All right. I love it when a plan comes together. Worked out really awesome. It's nice and tight up against that floor. Couldn't ask for better results. That's going to really save a lot of time. It's going to keep me flat. Won't have to sit and try to planish. I'll have to planish in this little section where I have nothing. That's why I've got the butt weld clamps in there. But I'm going to go through and start tacking this on here. Little at a time is what you want to do. You don't want to get it too hot. Now that I've got tacks in between most of these, take out the clamps. That one's going to be in there a little bit more than I wanted it to. There we go. Just kind of shows you how the metal shrinks when it gets hot, and kind of expanded that together. And these work really good for keeping it flush where we don't have something. So I'm going to put a couple more tacks in here and then I can planish that. Okay, so after we do that, we want to come take our hammer and dolly, put our dolly on the back side here, push, and we're going to hit every one of these spot welds. That's going to help stretch them out. Otherwise, If we don't do that, weld that, this is going to shrink and put a big divot in there. So this is helping stretch it back out. Keep our panel nice and flat. So essentially what I'm going to do now is I'll grind these flat and I'll come back and put more tacks in there, planish it again, and grind it until it's completely done. That's cooling off. It's a little warm, but it's not hot obviously because I can touch it. But that's how I'm going to do this section. This section I won't be able to planish because I've got that floor in there, but that floor is going to help, is right up tight against here. That's going to keep this from warping along there. I'll still tack it only. Definitely won't just put a bead there. We'll tap it, we'll keep it cool because we don't want the heat to get up here and warp this. These panels are pretty bent to heck anyway, but that's how I'm going to do that. Then we'll come back and we'll fit up our quarter piece there. All right, see you in a bit. Well, it turned out good. Here it is all welded on. Did a lot of little metal work to get that to come out right. What I was really amazed with is the length of this panel, you know, how it comes down to here. It makes its way over to here. The length actually was right on with the original panel, which is kind of a miracle in my book. So it's on there. So now I started fitting this quarter panel. I repaired this little section that was broke out or rotted out. So I've got that already repaired. Here's our panel. I went about it the same way that I do pretty much all my other panels. I had it notched here and got it up there and cut it out both at the same time. Got my holes for those plug welds. I have to do a little bit of work here. I'm gonna have to put a little bit of a slice in here to get that to match up with the original. It's a little off, but I'll tell you, for the most part, it's pretty decent. Let's see here. Like that. I'll put a couple of butt weld clamps in where I can. Can't get at it from the other side very well at all. So this is going to be one of those scenarios where I'm going to have to go really slow tacking it so I don't get too much warpage. But we'll get it. So once that's welded on, I can say that the rocker and quarter are complete. Then we can move on to the dog leg and the B-pillar. So I'll bring you back as soon as I get this welded on and show you the finished product. Take care. That's a wrap. It's on there. Turned out pretty good. I think my fake door seams turned out really well too. Pretty happy with those. Yeah, we don't have this B-pillar on yet, but at least this part of it's nice. So, any questions, concerns, whatever, make them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Love to have you subscribe to the channel. Helps me out big time. Always looking for requests too if there's something you need. You know, I want to start trying to do some videos on adjusting brakes, installing windows, whatever. I have a couple projects coming up where I got to do the front ends on them, but love to hear from you. Please subscribe, really does help a lot. We'll talk to you later on the next project. All right.